What's your take on Candace Owens, Blexit, Black people leaving the Democratic Party? Personally, I think that if we left and the right are detriments to Black people, I think we should consider a third party. Okay, that's actually a really meaningful question for the current political climate. Generally, I actually stay away from politics. Even though I have a degree in political science, after I went into government, I found that the people who are in government are some of the most selfish, wicked, incompetent people you will ever meet. And that's why I got out of government and went into private industry. I will briefly answer your question about Blexit. My personal philosophy is one that says you cannot rely on others to take care of you. You must know who your people are. Your people are not necessarily Black people because you're Black. What I mean is this: because you're alike in skin does not mean that you're alike in mind. You may have many people who might look like you, but believe very differently. People who might look like you, but not see you as their brother. And then conversely, you might have people who look nothing like you. They've grown up in different places, but they look upon you with tremendous amounts of love and say, you are my brother in humanity. So that's number one. Do you want to group yourself with Black people? I do, because that's what I grew up with. But the truth is you have to consider the following. African-American culture has been degraded tremendously in as much as we used to create our own culture and then it was reflected on the television. Today, the television creates the culture and then we just copy what we see on TV, which is why the values in the Black community have declined so much. We do need good leadership in the Black community. What I will say with regards to the Democratic and Republican Party is that they are both filthy. The Democratic Party, you'll see it's pandering to Latinos right now. Is that because they care about Latinos? Absolutely not. That's because Latinos are the fastest growing demographic in some of the most important states like California, which is like the largest economy in the United States, you know, right? So that's why they're pandering to Latinos, not because they have sincere concerns for the issues of Latinos. It's because they're a large voting bloc. So clearly the Democratic Party is not an authentic party. With regards to the Republican Party, my personal values are more conservative. I like to be thrifty. I like to save hella money. I don't like the government messing with my money. I don't like taxes. Those are all more conservative things. However, I stopped calling myself a conservative because the more I spent time around conservatives, I found that they were tremendously racist. I hate to say that because I'm not one to go out and point out racism, because I'm fine. If you want to be a racist, I think it's fine. I'm not trying to get you fired from your job. I say, hey, you have your right to believe what you believe. That is exactly why I've started the SAS and the Saint and the Sinner Nation, which is my own philosophy on how to engage the world and be hardworking. Make a dollar for yourself so you can take care of yourself and the ones that you love, the people you can touch, and to help people engage in this world in a way that is authentic, truly kind, trying their best to be in their sainthood, to engage your fellow man in a saintly way and not judge people as though you are more than mortal and they are less than human. So that's my little piece of action. We live in a plutocracy, which is a government run by the wealthy. Our president is a great example of that. He's a billionaire, right? I do not think this political system is designed well for average people, but I don't consider myself average, so I'm doing fine. But the key for me is making sure that every life I touch is impacted positively. And that's why I always encourage you folks to know that you are remarkable and live your life in a way that every moment you're striving to be remarkable and do good for your fellow man. So long story short, I wouldn't vote Democrat or Republican. I think it's choices between evil. You do not choose the lesser of two evils. You avoid evil. You condemn evil. Would I create a third party? Why create a third party in a system that's entirely corrupt itself? I say engage in civil action. Do good through nonprofits. I donate money to a women's shelter because I think mothers are some of the most important people in the society. I think we've undervalued motherhood. I donate money to a homeless shelter in Baltimore. Why? Because in my life, I've been homeless. And when I was living in Baltimore, I saw some of the most disgusting poverty that you'd ever see in America. Parts of Baltimore look like the third world. That's how I take action. I became a teacher because I wanted to do good for people, direct. I didn't want to aggrandize myself by getting elected to some position. So I always encourage you guys to know that the world will be better when we all start behaving like saints, right? Like when we choose to be in our sainthood more often. So I don't really engage in politics so much. So that's my long answer, I suppose, to what you're saying.